Hi, I'm Heather Dennis. Welcome to my studio. Often I find that my clients have problems getting their arms to reach overhead. And one of the ways that people like to do that is by arching their back. What that shows me is they don't use their abdominal muscles, their core muscles. So I want to show you an exercise to train using your abdominal wall, keeping that engaged while you take your arm overhead so you get more pure shoulder flexion. Okay, let me show you. All you need, put something underneath your head. I use these garden kneeling pads. They're a great little tool to put underneath the back of your head. I'm going to lie down on my back. Knees are bent and feet are standing. I want my legs parallel. Bring my arms down by my sides. I'm going to take a few breaths into my ribs, especially my lower ribs. And then I'm going to blow all the air out like I'm filling up a balloon. And I'm going to let my ribs squeeze in. And I'm going to breathe into the sides and backs of my ribs, and then blow all the air out. Again, breathe into the sides and backs of the ribs. You want the lower back and the ribs on the floor here. And then exhale. Now that's quite a skill to get, to be able to engage the ribs like that and to be able to keep the back on the floor. That's a sign that your core is working. If you find you're arched up off the floor, this may take a while before you get that ability to be able to control the movement of your rib cage. But let's continue. So I'm going to breathe out and allow my ribs to squeeze, and I'm going to think of my pelvis tilting back towards me. So I'm bringing the top of my pelvis towards the bottom of my ribs, keeping my abdominals engaged. Having my arms by my side, I'm going to then draw them straight up towards the ceiling. Fingertips are pointing towards the ceiling. Palms are facing one another. Take a breath here. Now I want you to focus your breath in between your shoulder blades, in the back. I call them the scuba tanks. So you're going to breathe into your scuba tanks, trying to get the breath into the back of the rib cage rather than front. And then on the exhalation, I'm going to squeeze my ribs, keep that gentle pelvic tilt, and take my arms 5 or 6 inches further up overhead. Then I'm going to take another breath in, back into my scuba tanks. And on the exhale, I'm going to squeeze my ribs and let my arms go up a few more inches, keeping those ribs down on the floor, keeping my lower back gently pressed into the floor. Take another nice breath into the back of the scuba tanks. And on the exhale, squeeze the ribs. Allow the arms to come a little bit further overhead. Then take another breath into the scuba tanks. Squeeze the breath, squeeze the ribs. Let the arms come up a few more inches. Take a breath in, and on the exhale, squeeze the ribs and allow your arms to come to the point where you can maintain your ribs and lower back on the floor. It's not about getting your arms to the floor, it's about finding the range of motion in your shoulder girdle that is natural for you. And then circle your arms down by your sides. And just allow yourself a moment to notice how your back is lying on the ground. And then repeat. I would do 3 or 4 of those and just see what happens. And again, these are practices to be done consistently over time to yield results. They're not quick fixes, but they do help to train you to engage your abdominal wall and be able to move your arms without your spine having to compensate for a lack of movement in your shoulder girdle. I hope this helps. See you on the mat.